Oh, hi, John.
Hi.
Where are you from in Colorado?
Denver.
Denver? Okay. I was raised there up till I was 12 years old. Go ahead. You have a question?
No wonder you have some common sense. No, you have a lot.
Well, then you know what happened to me, don't you?
What?
I ended up going to the University of Nebraska, so those Colorado fans have disowned me.
Well, that's a good combination, though.
John, you have a question for Gene Tatum.
I do. First of all, I wanted to know what month or which issue that Nexus magazine was.
That, Nexus is Volume 4, Number 3, the April-May 97, their latest edition.
Okay. So,
and the June and July issue will also have the second part of the article.
Great. And then I had another question on the POWs. You mentioned earlier why they kept some of them and not other ones. Could you explain that a little further?
I don't know why they kept some of them. On my side, I was just given the mission to tasked with looking for some in that arena, and I was, quite frankly, very surprised that they were even looking over there, but they were definitely looking over there.
Okay, because I wonder if they were using them for mind control. In what setting did you find them?
We actually found them in Bulgaria.
What were they doing?
I have no idea.
Oh, okay.
I just know the men were being held in prison in Bulgaria.
Okay, in prison then.
Right.
I didn't know if they'd be workers or whatever. And then the last question, sometimes...
Well, you'll have to hold this line there, John. We're going to have to take a break. Be right back, folks. Ted Gunderson, Intelligence Report. And we're back. My guest is Mr. Gene "Chip" Tatum, who is a 25-year CIA deep cover agent. And on the line is John from Denver, Colorado. Okay, John, you had another question?
Yes, I did. And he doesn't have to answer it now, but I hope that in the next, either today or in the next series, he can answer how he was the only two survivors out of, 17 that went into Cambodia or whatever that was?
Out of 13.
Or 13. Because I love war stories, and I think that'd be interesting.
If Ted doesn't mind the time, I don't mind telling
No, let's do it right now.
Okay.
What the show's all about.
I'll just hang up and listen, so...
Okay, John.
Thanks a lot.
We had effectively completed our mission on the airport in Phnom Penh. Very successful, but unknown to us, there were a group of Montagnards that were assigned as a transportation point for us to leave the area of operation and get back to our home in Phnom Penh, Thailand, in KP, Thailand, is where we based out of. We didn't know that they had orders to
kill you,
to kill us. So I was a young kid on the block. I wasn't particularly adept in the arena. However, the special operations people that were with us were well seasoned. I mean, my idea of shooting the AK-47s we were carrying at the time was squeeze that trigger till it stopped, and I wish the clips were bigger. But we were ultimately captured. We were tortured. Many of us were killed. I was severely beaten, severely tortured, and as a matter of fact, when it was all said and done, in a coma for weeks from routine patrol of U.S. Marines. Running out of the camp, one of them received a gut shot and died. The other two of us received severe head wounds, and we're both in comas with brain trauma.
Well, what about the other...
The rest,
11, 10?
Right. The rest were killed through a series. Our captain, who I call My Way, and I've just finished a manuscript on it, and that was the most difficult thing I've done in my life, is to try to recall the events of that. But My Way, who was our leader, and I've used a code name for him, was wearing a St. Christopher cross. The Red Chinese major, who was in charge of the interrogations, skinned him alive and put him and crucified him in front of us, holding bayonets and knives to our heads to make sure that we watched the torture, telling him that he would die as his Savior died. Those are the types of things that they did to us. But you have to understand, we were dressed in sapper uniforms. We weren't dressed in U.S. uniforms. We wouldn't speak to them. We had nothing to say to them. They didn't know exactly who we were or where we were from. They only knew that we were dressed in these North Vietnamese uniforms, and we weren't North Vietnamese.
Did the families subsequently learn what happened to their loved ones?
I don't know whether the families ever have. I know I've been looking for the other survivor, my platoon sergeant Chuck, and most of the shows that I do, I put a call out to him to see if he can contact me. I know that he is still alive.
And you want to put his name out now?
I just know Chuck.
No Chuck. Okay.
We called him Pop on the mission. His name was Chuck. He had a wife and 2 kids because we had put a phone patch through to him from one of our fire bases through a little base Mars station that we'd set up.
Where was he from? Do you remember?
It was the Midwest somewhere.
Okay. How sad. How sad. What about some of the other missions that you've been on that were similar to this?
In 1974, I was attached to Air America. My job, I guess, near the end of Vietnam, Air America started losing a lot of aircraft for some unknown reason. I think I know the reason. Someone didn't want the men who flew those missions
survive.
That's correct. I was
our own friendly flyers.
That's right. I was tasked to go in and move the downed pilots from Air America and some of the U.S. pilots into fire-free zones so that we could extract them. I was a communications specialist, and that was my job. Jump in, move them, get them out.
Okay. And what's the status on this list we talked about earlier in the show? You said there was a list for Clinton, and that was what you have available?
That's the Tatum Chronicles?
Yes.
Are available. They're 1995.
Okay.
At 1-800-729-4131. The Tatum Chronicles are basically flight plans from Honduras with extemporaneous notes put on the back by myself and my crew members. When certain things happened, when we'd fly a mission, we'd find a cooler marked medical supplies on board, and we opened the cooler to see what kind of medical supplies they were, and we found 100 bags of cocaine. We started questioning everything that went on.
And those were labeled for medicine?
That's correct. Some were donor parts, some were vaccines, some were medical supplies, all having to do with medical simply because under the Bolin Act, enacted by Congress, the United States military and the United States intelligence community could not participate in the Nicaraguan revolution. We were restricted from doing that in other than humanitarian efforts. So they put me undercover as a medevac pilot in the United States Army flying in and out of the Nicaraguan border.
You mentioned also earlier, Gene, about that this is what kept you alive, and you said you had a follow-up list that's in hiding right now?
That's right. This book, I don't think, is what's kept us alive. Through the years, we understood what would normally happen to people who get involved in black operations rather than in normal intelligence gathering.
Meaning that they get taken out.
That's correct. So we started early. Our group did in preparing for retirement, and we've tucked that away at those tapes, and we took documents and we put them on a videotape. We have sound recordings on videotape. Being who we were, we had access to the best in technology, so we put a lot of stuff on database and in different areas around the world.
And you say who we were. Who is we? Oh, let's come back. We'll come back in just a few minutes, folks. There's no question about it. Ted Gunderson, Intelligence. And we're back. My guest today is Gene Chip Tatum, a 25-year CIA deep cover agent. Before I go back to Gene, let me mention that we have the Chemical Weapons Convention Treaty being voted on today in the U.S. Senate. It allows foreign nationals to come in and steal our secrets legally, meaning that they can just walk in the plant and say, oh, let me have that blueprint over there on that board. And if you want to stop it, you've got to call 800-962-3524. That bill is being voted on. We need to stop it. So voice your displeasure with it by calling 800-962-3524. It's called the Chemical Weapons Convention Treaty. It will be voted on, I believe, today or tomorrow. I think it's today. Okay, back to you, Gene. And by the way, folks, now don't forget, mark it on your calendar and tell your friends, we've got to listen to this. This man has a lot to say. Starting on April the 30th through May the 6th, we're going to have 5 shows with Gene Tatum on the show. And when we come back, after this show today, we just have a few minutes left today, we'll be discussing, again, the POW issue. We'll be talking about the downfall of communism, the FBI hauling north, the Mossad, Bush, Jeb and George, Nixon, Reagan, Clinton, the Mina connection, Dan Lassiter, the Contras, Sandinistas, assassination of Jack Kennedy, the Mafia, and Ross Perot, McVeigh, and the Oklahoma City bombing, satanic worship, Buck Ravel, the FBI liaison with Ollie North, Kissinger, General Noriega, Satanism. We'll talk about Henry Hyde, who was the black money man for the CIA. Talk about Barry Seals, the DEA, and more. So don't miss these shows starting April 30th, a series of 5 of them. Now, when we left off, Gene, gosh, there's so much information. You were talking about, as I recall, I asked you who we was, and there was another question I wanted to ask you, and I should have written it down, but I didn't. You remember what it was?
No, I know we as several members of the operational subgroup I was with and their families. That's who those tapes protect. Right,
yeah, we were talking about the tapes and so forth, and I was going to ask you how many people are we, and that was the question, but you may not want to mention that.
There are several of us.
Several of you, okay.
That's correct.
Are these fellows in the same position you're in?
No, a couple of them are still active.
Okay. How are you protecting yourself? You know they got surveillances on you, they've got taps on you.
They're listening as we speak.
I know, but do they know who these other fellows are who are active?
No, they don't know who they are.
But that's what I'm saying to you. I mean, you've got to be real careful with that.
That's correct.
Are these other fellows gentlemen going to be coming forward, you think?
I know 2 of them are ready to. In the very near future, they'll be coming forward, yeah.
All right, let me know. I'll put them on the show. You need more than 5 days on this show.
I have 25 years worth of experience. If anyone wants to pick my brain, it's here to be picked.
Oh, is 5 days enough?
I think so.
Okay, well, if it isn't, we'll have you back.
I think it would be interesting to have David Guyette, the author of the Nexus article, along with us.
Okay, can you call him?
Sure, he's done a lot of background on it. Carries all the documents to substantiate everything.
And where is he in United Kingdom?
He's in England, right.
England, okay. We'll talk about that, folks. Time for the end of the show. Thanks for tuning in. Be sure to tune in tomorrow. We've got another exciting show for you.